Now, let's go to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there are growing calls for talks about the escalating crisis in the east of the country, where there's been fierce fighting between Congolese forces and the rebel M23 group. Now, these fighters, who the UN says are backed by Rwanda, took over most of the city of Goma last week. The BBC's Paul Njay has managed to get into Goma for the first time since the fighting started. Here's his special report.
The new normal. M23 rebels patrol the streets of Goma. It's the first time the BBC is entering the besieged city in Eastern DRC since the M23 claimed control of the territory almost a week ago. The security situation here remains volatile. Heavy fighting between the rebels and the Congolese forces has shut down the city center. Banks, shops, and other services have all been paralyzed by the violence. It seems peaceful as we drive across the city, but everywhere we look, there are reminders of the conflict. Residents are frightened.
People are afraid because when they burn these military fatigues and ammunition, they can explode and injure people. We request the government that has taken over to remove them from the streets. Inside these heaps of military leftovers, there may be grenades and live ammunition.
This once bustling city is now scarred by the fighting.
This used to be a filling station, but as you can see, everything seems to have been damaged. Over there, I see bullet holes on that bus, and it's reminiscent of the scenes that might have played here. People are walking on and looking at this area. Although they are going about their activities normally, they know that at any time, anything could change.
Over 700 injured people are receiving treatment in one of the city's main hospitals, which have been overwhelmed by the number of casualties. Many have been traumatized by what they have witnessed.
I was in my house when the shooting started. Suddenly, my hand felt cold, and I realized I had been shot, and I screamed for help. But they continued firing. I came out of the house screaming.
With no signs of a truce between the Congolese forces and the M23, people in Goma and Eastern DRC are expecting the worst. Paul Njay, BBC News, Goma.
Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News.